Brakataya Hawa, Brakataya Shai, Brakataya Hawa, Brakataya Shai, call Law Yahweh Bashmi Shai, Bashim Makak, Dash double honors to the elders and apostles, great mills and rule. Well, I am not a member, however, I have entered into their labors. Peace and mercy to the sincere brothers and sisters doing this wherever you are, whatever your life may be. And this is really an uncommon lesson for me. I don't really go over health stuff, but I am very, very invested into the things revolving health and making yourself better. Okay, so I just want to start with two scriptures here, and I'm telling you from a person who's been obese to the best shape, and I'm talking top 10% in the country, to fat, to being in great shape for a 36. I've been up and down, man, up and down with this thing. But it gets to a point to where, you know what, let me start with the three scriptures. Okay, the first one being Mark 16, and this is verse starting at verse 15, but this is the commissioning of the disciples here, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and read 15, but the point is in 18. All right, and he said unto them, go ye up into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He that believeth is baptized and shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned. All these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. All right, so that's one. The second one is eating your bread defiled among the heathen. That's Ezekiel 4 and 13. So we'll get that as well. All right, and straight to the point. Okay, and Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither will I drive them. Right, and that includes Babylon. Okay, especially Babylon, where if you think about it, you don't, this is not something that most people think about, that there's a separation between organic vegetables and fruits, or organic produce, and non-organic produce, which produce comes from the ground, right? The Lord made all this and said it is good, right? Bottled water. You used to be able to drink from a creek. You used to be able to reach your hand down, grab water, and drink it. But, Job 9 and 24, right? And, dang, what was the last one I wanted to get? Dang, I knew I should have queued that one up. And now it didn't slip my mind. So, like, if it comes back to me, then, I will definitely get it. But those are the two openers. And the point I wanted to make here was about taking care of yourself, right? Although, the scriptures tell you that bodily exercise profited little, it still profits, especially in the times that we're going to. And I am definitely preaching to self, because we can get weak. We can get into a routine of just worldly pleasures, of just eating when you feel like eating what you want to eat. Now, I did an experiment. And I usually cook all my own food, and if I eat out, I do my best to make good choices with the food that I select. And every so often, get your little folly, get your little bag of chips, or your fried foods, or what have you. But that should not be a staple in your diet under any circumstances. Now, I did an experiment. I just kind of ate like the average American. I did it for 4 days. And I could not focus when it comes to reading. I 10 minutes a day, at a minimum 10 minutes a day. I do uninterrupted reading, no phone, no talking, no nothing. And, I find myself reading the same line over and over, and stuff that would come to me normally doesn't come to me. And I'm like, what was that precept? I could not get myself together. All right. Memory issues, brain fog, can't concentrate. I couldn't even concentrate when I prayed. It threw me off that bad. And you got to understand, the world we live in, especially here, you don't even know, none of us know where our food comes from. And if you have a little change in your pocket, do your best to get organic. And don't eat shit that ain't got no seeds. Fruit is supposed to have seeds. Why are you hunting down watermelons with seeds? Because it is devil. Okay, and I just pulled this food pyramid thing up, just for a backdrop, but we'll read through and get what we can get, right? And I'm gonna include a list of herbs, and you can steep them in water, add a little lemon, and that's also good for you as well, right? Not adding any sugar unless you're gonna do some raw, unfiltered honey from your local area, and that also helps with your allergies. Okay, so what does it say? The fruit. All I typed in was food pyramid fallacy. Okay, and these niggas. And okay, basing the foundation on 6 through 11 daily servings of carbohydrates, demonizing dietary fats. The model inadvertently contributed to rising rates of obesity and metabolic disease. And you want to know why? It was all for $1. And you can thank the works of Edward Bernays, Mr. Propaganda himself, a.k.a. Public Relations. Okay, he did a wonderful job convincing people on wanting things they didn't need, such as making women pick up smoking, making more and more women pick up smoking. Okay, and I think it went from 1900, it went from 5% to about 13%, and we're talking 10 years, only a decade. All right, and that much increase. And many different tactics, or I'm sorry, not many different tactics, many different situations where they use that very tactic to convince people this is what they need to do, all for personal gain. All right, what does the scripture tell you about him that, put the bottle to his neighbor? But he that put his, let me see. Bear with me. I think it's like that. Let me see. Habakkuk 2:15 is where it is. Okay. And that strong drink can mean anything. Literally pushing you to do something that is destructive for you. All right, for their own personal gain, or it could be a philosophy, a way of life, a way of thinking. All of that is that bottle. Okay, Habakkuk 2:15. Let's go. I thought I pulled it up. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor strong drink. Go unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him and maketh him drunken also, that thou may look on their nakedness. Right? And let's read that in a different. Let's read in the NLT. What sorrow awaits you when you make your neighbors drunk? You force your cup on them so you can gloat over their shameful nakedness, right? So they have an ulterior motive, and that is this whole thing. Food, air, water, everything that would go in or on your body is defiled and has been ruined for gain. So you've got to pay attention to the things that you put in your body. And if you need to change your relationship with food, it does take time, but you can do it. Okay? We live in a pleasure-based society where, before you come into this truth, your God is your belly. Right? And anything you feel you want to do at any point in time, you get up and you do it, or you go and you get it. Okay? Think of food as fuel. All right? And you want to fight inflammation. So, it's not wrong to eat, you have your little nachos or wings or whatever it is, have that. But just remember, think of it as fuel. Your body is I was going to say a Ferrari, we'll say a nice chariot, right? This body is a chariot. And you don't want to feed your chariot with, basic gas. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to put that 87. You don't want to put that E15 in there, right? You want premium fuel. It burns better, okay? It doesn't clog anything as far as the plumbing within the vehicle, right? You need all that. You need good fuel, and your vehicle will run as long as you take care of it, right? So think of the food that you eat as, am I fighting inflammation with this, or am I causing it? And think of it as points, right? Set your allotted calorie goal. You know, say, I know generally speaking, I don't. You can look up calorie calculators. I'm not gonna get into that. You can look that up. There's plenty of information. Find your base calories and then subtract 500 and go from there. And look at it as money, as points. I have $2,200 and each calorie is $1. How are you going to spend those calories? Are you going to spend it on bullshit, or are you going to spend it on something that will last and that will keep you full and satiated, and for the most part, it has some added health benefit? Because even now, the food, a lot of the food has reduced in health. Its benefits, its antioxidants, its macro and micronutrients have been diminished greatly. Thank you, Satan, for that, right? But that's why you also should be praying every time you put something close to your face. All right, anytime you're gonna ingest something, you need to be praying over it and trying to get the best quality that you can. All right. So if that means sacrificing pleasures elsewhere because you want to do what's important to you. So, I enjoy language learning outside of the truth. I enjoy language learning and health. So outside of things that require, upkeep that I can continue to do these lessons, I devote other time to that and I like, things of that. And I like to travel. So, other stuff gets put on the back burner. All right, you have to weigh all of that out. Let's go ahead and continue reading here. Okay. Traditional USDA food pyramid launched 92. Place refined carbohydrates, bread, cereal, pasta at the base and the largest recommended portion, while placing fats and oils at the very top to be used sparingly. Now, there should be a balance. Okay. And unless you are a martial arts athlete or anything like that, or some sort of athlete, you don't need that many carbs, but you do need carbs. All are necessary. Okay, so and stay away from the fad diets. Like, keto is not good if you are a perfectly healthy person. You need carbs, you need fats, and in fact, fats are so important to the brain. Okay, look at how. Because the fats are your vehicle. For brain function. Them good old triglycerides, right? Healthy fats are absolutely critical for brain function because your brain is roughly 60% fat and your body is 70-80% water. Okay, cell membrane integrity. Myelin sheath, all right, insulation. Fats form the protective coating around the nerve fibers. This coating accelerates electrical signals, allowing you to think, react, and recall information quickly. Okay, your brain and your gut are tied together. Never forget that. And most people don't associate gut health with brain or the rest of your body health. Gut and brain are very important things to pay attention to. All right. Let's see. Antioxidant defense. Healthy fats protect brain cells from oxidation, stress, and chronic inflammation. Yes. Also, fasting. And I need to do more of that now, especially now. These are things we need to consider. All right. Trying to be a healthier physical you. It will help you in the long run. If you don't run, start getting a minimum of 10,000 steps a day when you walk, and then work your way up to running. But work on improvement. Not only should you be improving the spiritual man, but improve yourself physically, because, the Lord will give you the spirit. We have faith, but you should also show that you appreciate the gift that the Lord has given you by getting out and walk. Not everybody can walk, right? I was born I was supposed to be wheelchair bound my entire life. And Salaka Yahweh Bashmi outside for any time that I didn't get my big ass up and walk when I was supposed to. Having the functionality of your limbs is a blessing, let alone being in your right frame of mind. All right. So since I don't have a lot of scriptures, and I'm going to link a bunch of herbs in the description box for anybody that is interested, that'll be the video. I just wanted to get in and talk about health. It is important, right? Even though this spiritual man is the most important thing, all right, of the two, your health is still important. Because if you are, how are you, if you're not 100% healthy, or at least 80%, how you go preach, how you go teach, right? You don't want to allow yourself to be in a situation where you can be overtaken, all right? Especially in the times that come, right? People finna start showing they tail. You got to be able to defend yourself. Know a little something, something, or at least be able to outrun the motherfucker that's chasing you. The average American can't run no more than 30 seconds, all right? So just, get up and do something little by little. And that's for the strength, for the spirit too. Little by little you grow, brick by brick. Or should I say chiseling away the unprofitable. So little by little you chisel away until you've revealed your perfect form. That is better. Not brick by brick. We'll say, you're chiseling away because everything you need is already in you, especially if you've been given the Holy Spirit. It's all in you. And physically, everything you've been given, it's there. Everything you need is there. Yeah, and I'm talking about a basic able-bodied person. You can walk, all right? You can at least ride a bike and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. Little by little, chisel away at the unprofitable, physically and spiritually. And continue to pray, continue to fast, continue to be repentant, and just work on being a better you. The only competition is who you were yesterday. All right, so with that being said, shalom.